all you Viking swimming fans for tonight's swim meet between Tennessee High and the visiting Sullivan Central Cougars. This meet is being held in compliance with National Federation of High School Swimming rules. At this time, we're going to have our national anthem. Well done by the Tennessee High Aquavikes. Tonight's a dual meet, and the scoring is slightly different for a dual meet over what we had in our last broadcast, where it was a double dual meet. The scoring individual for tonight is 6 for first, 4 for second, 3 for third, 2 for fourth, and 1 for fifth. Sixth place does not score. Each team is only allowed 3 swimmers to score. And the relays, the scoring is 8 for first, 4 for second, 2 for third, and only 2 relays from each team can score. You can have 3 relays in the event, but only 2 can score. And we're about ready for our first event. The first event's the girls' 200-yard medley relay. Sullivan Central will be in lane number 3, and Tennessee High will be in lane number 4. The swimmers for Sullivan Central, backstroke will be Kate Gross. Breaststroke is Brooklyn Daniel. Butterfly is Suzanne Amos. And freestyle is Naomi Miller. And for Tennessee High, swimming backstroke and leading off is Danica Mai. Breaststroke, Alyssa Harris. Butterfly, Ada Ritchie. And freestyle is Kaylee Dutton. There are no qualifying times for this event for the state meet. And I was talking to Coach Johnson before we got these festivities started, and she was saying that this year for the state meet they're going to have 5 regional swim meets, and they'll send in their fastest or their times from those meets, and then they'll score the state, all due to COVID. Starter for tonight is Mr. Brian Johnson. And we have, in addition to the screen that you get to see, in the upper right hand corner of the screen you get to see the running clock. Again, that's Danica Mai out in front for Tennessee High. She hit the wall at the 25 at about 19 seconds. She's stretching it out. She almost has a 10-yard lead at this point. Into the water, swimming breaststroke, is Alyssa Harris. For Sullivan Central, that was Kate Gross that just finished the backstroke leg. And in the water now is Brooklyn Daniel. Alyssa's stretching out the lead. It's almost a full pool length lead now. It's a good start for Ada Ritchie into the water doing butterfly for the Lady Vikings. Next up for Sullivan Central is Suzanne Amos. The anchor for the Lady Vikings is Kaylee Dutton, and for Central is Naomi Miller. The way they have the splits set up on the scoreboard, they have it so that it gives you the split for each 50, and then it'll revert and give you the total time up to that point, and then it always goes blank. And usually the time up at the very top is the running time. So that was a very nice relay for the Lady Vikings. Their time was 2:35.21. You can see the touch pads that are in the water. They're connected to a Daktronics timing console, which in turn is connected to the scoreboard, and it's also connected to a computer that runs Meet Manager software, and that Meet Manager software already has the swimmers installed, and it calculates everything that needs to be calculated. So for the boys, event number 2, in lane number 3 you have Sullivan Central A team, and in lane number 5 you have Sullivan Central B team. The swimmers on the A team, Braden Templeton going backstroke, Luke Johnson breaststroke, Abram Whitfield butterfly, and Lucas Gillenwater freestyle. In the B relay, you have Gunnar Moore in the pool now doing backstroke, Joel Miller breaststroke, Connor Manning butterfly, Colton Moore freestyle. So unless one of these relays is disqualified, or if both of the relays is disqualified, the boys will find themselves in a pretty big hole to start with, down 12-0. Into the water now for the A team is Abram Whitfield swimming butterfly. The regional meet this year will be held at the Kingsport Aquatics Center, and from what I understand, they're going to swim the boys prelims and finals on Friday, and then the girls prelims and finals on Saturday. And that's how they're going to run it. I'm sure that the diving will probably be run maybe both days between the prelims and the finals. I'm not exactly sure. Or they may have that at Dobbins Bennett High School on Thursday evening, which wouldn't surprise me very much. I know their diving coach, Coach Julie Rich, really likes their boards and prefers their boards over the Aquatic Center boards. Also, if they do it on Thursday evening, they don't have to pay pool rental for the for renting the Kingsport Aquatic Club. There's your final. The A relay went 2:10.24, and the B relay, I'm not exactly sure, 2:57.63. That's good. Our next events, combined events 3 and 4, the 200-yard freestyle event. The lane assignments, in lane 1, you'll have Kaylee Dutton from Tennessee High. Lane 2, Emma Davis from Tennessee High. Lane 3, Grace Mickelson, Tennessee High. And then lane 4, the lone boy in this event, Benjamin Fernandez, also from Tennessee High. So Tennessee High girls are going to go 1, 2, 3 and take a commanding 21-4 lead after this event. And for the boys, Benji, as long as he doesn't get disqualified, will take first, and the boys team will be trailing 12-6. State qualifying time in this event for the girls is 2:12.19, and for the boys it's 2:20.29. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. 2:00.29. I just realized I made that mistake. So Benji's out in a 1:08, and Emma Davis is out in a 1:11. This is one of those where Benji's going to get first place no matter what he does, and it's probably be to his benefit if he just stretches the swim out and doesn't necessarily swim for his fastest time. Same thing on the girls' side. Emma doesn't have to go 100% and can save herself for future races tonight. There's a lot of strategy that goes on in a swim meet like this. There's Benji on his final length of the pool. Just cruises into the wall, the time of around 2:27. Emma's in at about 2:34. Grace Mickelson finishes second for the girls. It shows third up on the scoreboard. And then Kaylee Dutton gets fourth for the Lady Vikings. Our next events are also combined. It's the event number 5 and event number 6, the 200-yard individual medley. And your lane assignments in event number 5 in lane 6 is Molly Johnson from Tennessee High. And then looks like the Sullivan Central swimmers aren't up at the block just yet. Maybe they didn't realize that they were combining the two events. That would be my guess. The lane assignments in lane 1 is Braden Templeton from Sullivan Central. Lane 2, Evan Jones from Tennessee High. Lane 3, Abram Whitfield from Sullivan Central. Lane 4, Ian Webb from Tennessee High. And in lane 5 is supposed to be Luke Johnson from Sullivan Central. And that appears to be what the issue was. Looks like Luke Johnson from Sullivan Central is a scratch in this event. Evan Jones from Tennessee High over in lane 2, swimming to try to qualify for the state meet in this event. The qualifying time is 2:17.49. Evan has already qualified, I believe, in 3 events, the 50 and 100 freestyle and the 100 breaststroke. I may be wrong about the third one. It's a good race for second place. You have Abram Whitfield in lane 3 and Ian Webb in lane 4. They touched the wall simultaneously, and Ian didn't have the turn that Abram had and fell behind a little bit. His breaststroke's a little bit stronger. Again, as I've said before, this is a race you want to try to push this lap of the breaststroke and try to get to the wall before your opponent does, so that when you push off, you're swimming a much faster stroke in freestyle and they're still swimming that slow stroke breaststroke. Evan would have to finish with about a 30. Looking at that, I thought the IM time was a little faster than that, but I guess not. It's going to be real close. That's about a 2:16.93. And so with that swim, Evan qualifies for the state meet in the 200 IM. State qualifying time of 2:17.49. So, like we said, that was a really good race for second and third, with Ian Webb touching out Abram Whitfield. So the Vikings take first and second, and the Cougars are third and fourth. So the Vikings win that event by the score of 10-5. And of course, Molly was the winner in the girls race, and that just extends the lead for the Lady Viking. Our next event's event number 7, the girls 50-yard freestyle. The lane assignments: in lane 1, Kate Gross from Sullivan Central. Lane 2, Mary Hufford, Tennessee High. Lane 3, Suzanne Amos, Sullivan Central. Lane 4, Grace Johnson, Tennessee High. Lane 5, Brooklyn Daniel, Sullivan Central. And lane 6, Phoebe Swavely from Tennessee High. State qualifying time in this event is 26.99, and as you can see, Grace Johnson is fairly close to that qualifying time, and with a outstanding start and turn, she has a pretty good chance of making the qualifying time. We're having some starter issues. I think it's the microphone on the starter is acting up a little bit. It happens. Yeah, the lane assignments, when you have a dual meet, one team generally will take the odd numbered lanes and the other team will take the even numbered lanes for the event that counts, or the race that counts. Sometimes when they combine heats or change heats, then they'll change that a little bit and move people around. That was a good start by Grace. She's already motoring out to a big lead. She's just got to hit her turn. It's good. Didn't breathe coming off the wall. She's really kicking hard, trying to bring it home. She's going to be close. 27:46. Well, that's pretty consistent. Her seed time was a 27:54, so she dropped 0.08 of a second. So Tennessee High finishes 1st, 4th, and 5th. And so they outscored the Lady Cougars by a score of 9-7 in that event. Our next event is the boys 50-yard freestyle, and there's 2 heats of this. In heat 1, you have Gunnar Moore in lane 3 from Sullivan Central, and in lane 5, Connor Manning, also from Sullivan Central. A lot of these meets, anybody that doesn't swim in the fastest heat will be entered as an exhibition swimmer. Their times count, but they can't score any points. But what Coach Johnson has done, she's allowed everybody to swim, and then they just take the fastest 3 times for each team. It was a good swim by Connor Manning. 29.4 would be the second fastest swim in the last heat. In heat 2, the lane assignments: lane 1 is Joel Miller from Sullivan Central. Lane 2, Brady Knabb, Tennessee High. Lane 3, Lucas Gillenwater, Tennessee High. Lane 4, Bryson Phillips, Tennessee High. And then lane 5 is Colton Moore from Sullivan Central. I may have said Lucas Gillenwater is from Sullivan Central. That was a solid turn right there. by Brady Knapp from Tennessee High. Oh, that was nice. 26.69 for Brady. His seed time was a 32.13, so he dropped 5.5 seconds. Then our next event is the diving event. It's not listed in the heat sheet, but I can tell you the divers in the order in which they're listed. Okay, it is in the heat sheet, my fault. It's not in my heat sheet. So what they do with the diving is they combine the boys and the girls. The girls will dive first, and then the boy will dive immediately after that. They compete together. The diving order will be first for Tennessee High, Tori Walk, the talented freshman. Your second diver is Stella Sims, also from Tennessee High. Stella's in her second year of diving at Tennessee High, and she's a sophomore. Your third diver is Kaylee Mosher. Kaylee is a senior this year, very talented young lady, finished 12th at the TISCA State Championships last year. And then our fourth diver is the boy who's diving in this event, and that's Adam Peltier. And Adam is, I think he's a freshman at Tennessee High, maybe a sophomore. But Adam's older sister swam at Tennessee High and dove at Tennessee High. And Adam dove at Vance Middle School, and then he went to a private school last year and came back to Tennessee High, and he's diving this year. The way diving is held, there are 3 judges for the diving, and the 3 judges score the dives with a score of 5 being an average dive. Anything above that, it's better than average. Anything below that is somewhat deficient. The 3 scores are added together, and you get a total for that. And then that total is multiplied by the degree of difficulty for each dive. And that's how you get differences in dives. They can have the same scores, but if the degree of difficulty is different, then that changes the score. It's when they get to the state level, most of the top 3 or 4 divers at state have a very heavy, difficult dive list. And in these dual meets, the divers do 6 dives, but when they get to the championship level, the state meet, the regional meet, anything like that, they do an 11 dive meet. And in these 6 dive meets, they're supposed to do dives out of 4 of the categories, and there are 5 categories. The 5 categories are the 100 dives are forward dives, 200 dives are back dives, 300 dives are reverse dives, 400 dives are inward dives, and then the 5,000 dives are twisting dives. And so they have to do, in their 6 dives, they have to do 4 of those categories. When they get to the 11 dive meet, they have to do 2 dives of each of those categories. So that would be 10 dives, and then they do 1 extra dive from a category that they choose. So our first diver is Tori Walk, and Tori's performing dive 201C, back dive tuck, degree of difficulty 1.5. That's a good dive. Good dive. Another thing that determines the degree of difficulty is her scores were 6 1/2, 7, 7. Another thing that determines the degree of difficulty is the position during the dive. There's 4 positions. For most dives, the positions are tuck, pike, and straight. For a lot of the twisting dives, there's also a free position where they don't really have to hold a position. Tori's dive is dive 202C. Back somersault tuck. She over-rotated just a little bit. Stella has scores 5 1/2, 5 1/2, 5 1/2. Your next diver is Kaylee Mosher, performing dive 201B. That's a back dive pike position. Degree of difficulty is 1.6, a little bit higher than the tuck dive. Her scores were 7 1/2, 7 1/2, 6 1/2. And our next diver is Adam Peltier, performing dive 201A, back dive straight. So the A gives you the position, A, B, C. A is straight, B is pike, C is tuck. Oh. Over-rotated just a little bit. His scores were 5 1/2, 5, 5. Your next diver is Tori Walk. Tori's doing dive 202A. Back somersault, straight position, degree of difficulty 1.7. So she's not supposed to pike or bend her knees at all. You can see how she piked just a little bit at the top to bring it over. Her scores were 6, 6 1/2, 6 1/2. Stella's performing dive 401B. The 400 categories inward, so it's an inward dive, pike position, degree of difficulty 1.5. Kaylee is the next diver. Her scores were 6 1/2, 6, 6 1/2. Our next diver is Kaylee Mosher, performing dive 203C. Back 1 1/2 somersault in the tuck position, degree of difficulty 2.0. She over-rotated just a little bit, but that was still a good dive. Her score 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6. And our next diver is Adam Peltier, performing dive 102C, front somersault tuck. Degree of difficulty 1.4. A little bit short on that one. His scores were 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 5. Starting round 3, your next diver is Tori Walk, performing dive 103C. Forward, 1 1/2 somersault, tuck. The DD is 1.6. That was a very nice dive. She gets her hands together. Of course, we could see it from this camera angle. The scores for that dive were 6, 6 1/2, 6 1/2. Your next diver is Stella Sims, performing dive 402C. Inward somersault tuck position, degree of difficulty 1.6. Very nice dive. Her score is 6 1/2, 6, 6 1/2. Your next diver is Kaylee Mosher, performing dive 303C. That's a reverse 1 1/2 somersault tuck. The DD of that dive is 2.1. She was a little short on that one. She kicked it out away from the board a little too far, and that makes it hard to rotate. Your next diver is Adam Peltier, performing dive 103C, forward 1 1/2 somersault tuck, DD 1.6. That was a much better dive. Scores were 6, 6, 6 1/2. Now, again, when you move on up to the next level, the judges are looking for a really tight tuck when you are in the tuck position. They want that tight tuck, and that was maybe a little bit loose. Fourth round, Tori's performing dive 401B, inward dive pike. The DD is 1.5. I know last year that was one of her favorite dives. Her scores were 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6. Next diver is Stella Sims. She'll be performing dive 101B, inward dive pike. Degree of difficulty 1.3. Not bad, not bad. Bend her knees just a little bit on the takeoff. 6 1/2, 6, 7. Next diver is Kaylee Mosher, performing dive 103B, forward 1 1/2 pike, degree of difficulty 1.7. Just a slight over rotation there. Her score is 7, 6 1/2, 6 1/2. Next is to Adam Peltier, performing dive 401C, inward dive, tuck position, degree of difficulty 1.4. Not bad, not bad. His scores were 5, 5, and 6. For the fifth round, first diver is Tori Walk, performing dive 402C, inward somersault tuck, degree of difficulty 1.6. Not bad. 6 1/2, 7, 6 1/2. She probably needs to kick a little harder at the end of the dive and straighten it up. But that was a good dive. Your next diver is Stella Sims, performing dive 103B, forward 1 1/2 somersault pike, degree of difficulty 1.7. She was a little bit short on that, and she did a pike save to try to pull it into the water and save the dive. They gave her a 6, 6 1/2, 7. Your next diver is Kaylee Mosher, performing dive 104C. 104 is a double forward somersault. C is in the tuck position. Very nice. You could see how she stood up at the very end of the dive and put it in the water, and her scores were 6 1/2, 7, 7. Our next diver is Adam Peltier, performing dive 302C, reverse somersault tuck, degree of difficulty 1.6. Not bad. Pushed it out a little bit far away from the board. Scores were 6, 6, 6. The last dives for tonight, first diver is Tori Walk, performing dive 5121D, forward somersault with 1/2 twist, free position. Six and 1/2, 6 1/2, 6. Stella Sims performing the same dive, 5121D, forward somersault, 1/2 twist, free position, degree of difficulty 1.7. Same score, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 7. Kaylee's performing a different dive, 5122D, which is a forward somersault with a full twist, free position. DD's 1.9. So you can see the difference in that extra 1/2 twist. It's 0.2 of a point in DD. Scores for that dive were 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2. And our final diver of the evening is Adam Peltier, performing dive 5121D, forward somersault, 1/2 twist, free. DD's 1.7. He didn't make it. Yeah. If you don't do the twist and everything, you get a failed dive or incorrect dive, and that you just score zeros for that dive. The incorrect dives, that's how you get disqualified in a diving event. You have to do an incorrect dive on 2 dives to get disqualified in the event. So even though he didn't complete that last dive, he still scores for the boys. The diving event is just another of the 24 events in a swim meet. It doesn't count any more or any less than any of the other individual events. And for some of the teams, they actually use the divers to swim and help out the swim team. They may do relays or jump up and do another race, 50 free or 100 free or 100 back. But for Tennessee High, we've been lucky enough the last several years that we haven't had to ask the divers to do that. It's such a specialized event that they have to put in quite a bit of time to learn the new dives. It's a little different than the swimming events. Swimmers don't always understand that, but that's just the way it is. Our next event is going to be event 11, the girls 100-yard butterfly. You have 2 swimmers, both from Tennessee High in this one. In lane 2, you'll have Kaylee Dutton, and in lane 4, Gabby Francis. State qualifying time in this event's a 107.39. It's a fairly fast qualifying time. The state qualifying times in the state of Tennessee have not gotten any faster during the last 5 or 6 years. There for a while, every year, they would reconfigure the qualifying times, and they just got to the point where they had several events with very few swimmers able to make the qualifying time, so they stopped lowering the qualifying times. The way they used to calculate the qualifying times, they would take the 64th place time in an event for the last 3 years and average those 3 times. And if there was ever a year where you had fewer than 64 swimmers, then that event would not change during the time that that year rotated through the qualifying process. I know that because that was one of my jobs to do as part of TISCA every year, was to come up with the new state qualifying times. Out in a 43.87 is Kaylee Dutton. Yeah, if we could work with Kaylee a little bit on her start, she could probably drop a second in her time just from her start, an improved start. She has pretty good turns. Her stroke's not terrible. Her start was a little bit slow. So it looks like Kaylee will be the winner of tonight's 100-yard butterfly. It's good swims by the girls. Our next event is the boys 100-yard butterfly. In lane 2, Evan Jones from Tennessee High. Lane 3, Abram Whitfield from Sullivan Central. And in lane 4, Benji Fernandez from Tennessee High. State qualifying time in this event's 1:00.19. Benji's a little bit over a second off of that. And I don't know if Evan's ever swam the 100 butterfly before. He's coming in with a no time, trying to make another state qualifying time tonight. Probably need to be out in a high 26, low 27 to make the time. So they have to push it. 28.8, 29.5. They could still make it, but it would be pretty difficult. It's a good race there in the middle of the pool between Evan and Benji. Abram Whitfield from Sullivan Central swimming a good strong race, but he's just not able to keep up with the 2 Tennessee High swimmers. So it's about 1:04 for both of them. Not bad. Not bad at all. I don't expect Evan to be swimming that event at the state or at the regional meet. He'll probably do the 50 and the 100. Now Benji will swim it at the state if he makes it. And our next event is the girls 100-yard freestyle. There's 2 heats of this. Heat 1 in lane 2 you have Phoebe Swavely from Tennessee High. Lane 3, Danica Mai from Tennessee High. Lane 4, Ada Ritchie, Tennessee High. And lane 5, Mary Hufford, Tennessee High. State qualifying time in this event is a 1:00.39. Got Danica Mai out in the lead for the Lady Vikings, followed closely by Ada Ritchie. Again, the 100 free, it's all about your start and your turns, and really the 100 free, the 4 lengths of the pool, it's as hard as you can go, all out. Don't leave anything in the pool. Good race there between lanes 3 and 4 between Danica and Ada. Down in lane 5 you have Mary Hufford, a pretty good swim, and Phoebe Swavely over in lane 2. Oh, I was hoping that they'd tie. Good swims for both girls. 1:17.07, 1:17.13. That's about a 2-second drop for each. Mary Hufford also a 1:21.56. It's a good swim for her. And now heat 2. In lane 2 you have Sophie Arnold from Tennessee High. Lane 3, Naomi Miller from Sullivan Central. Lane 4, Grace Johnson, Tennessee High. And lane 5, Molly Johnson, Tennessee High. Once again, state time for this event's 1:00.39. Grace has already made that time. Sophie's looking to make that time. She's very close. It was a good start for both girls. It's, you know, this 100 freestyle, it's about controlling your breathing and not over breathing the swim. Try not to swim in and out of the turn. If you can do that, it's amazing how fast you can swim by not breathing a whole lot. Streamline off the wall. You'll see a lot of the swimmers doing a good hard dolphin kick as they come off the wall. That's legal in freestyle now. But again, they have to pop up before the second yellow set of buoys from that end of the pool, which isn't a problem at this level, but college level, you kind of have to watch. The fastest stroke in swimming is the freestyle event, any of the freestyles. But I bet you won't guess what the second fastest stroke is, if you want to call it a stroke. It's underwater dolphin kick. And if you actually underwater dolphin kick, you can go faster than you can trying to break the surface tension of the water by swimming. So there was a time when they actually were breaking the world record swimming backstroke and in the 50-meter pool, and they would go into the pool and do butterfly kick all the way down the pool. And let me read these and I'll finish my story. Your lane assignments: in lane 1 you have Colton Moore from Sullivan Central. Lane 2, Paul Lesson from Tennessee High. Lane 3, Lucas Gillenwater, Sullivan Central. Lane 4, Brady Nab, Tennessee High. And lane 5, Connor Manning from Sullivan Central. But they were actually diving into doing a backstroke start and dolphin kicking the entire length of a 50-meter pool underwater, popping up, taking one stroke, doing a turn, and then dolphin kicking again for almost the whole second lap. And they broke the world record doing that. And the governing body for swimming, Olympic swimming, came up and said that, well, you know, that's not really swimming backstroke. So that's when they put in the 15-meter marks, and that 15-meter mark works for short course yards or meters as well as long course yards or meters, and that's what the yellow buoys are in the pool. Your winner was Lucas Gillenwater with a time of 58.15, dropped to 10th. Paul Letson, a 1:01.46, he dropped 3.5 seconds. And Brady Knabb, a 1:02.45, dropped a second. So that's good. Paul dropped 4.5 seconds, not 3.5 seconds. And our next event is a combined event. It's the girls and boys 500-yard freestyle, 20 lengths of the pool. Your lane assignments. In lane 2 is Ada Ritchie from Tennessee High. Lane 3, Suzanne Amos, Sullivan Central. Lane 4, Alyssa Harris, Tennessee High. And lane 5, Kate Gross from Sullivan Central. And then over here in lane 6 is Ian Webb, the lone boy in the event from Tennessee High. State qualifying for the girl is 5:59.69, and for the boys, for Ian, it's 5:37.19. Ian is 16 seconds off the qualifying time, but you know, this is one of those events where if he has a good race and you know, on a good night, that 16 seconds can be wiped away in a hurry. You'll notice that at the far end of the pool, you have lap counters. They get to use the lap counters on any event that is 500 or longer, and they're counting the odd laps because that's how many laps that they would have down there. We're looking for 17. The last number they'll turn over is number 17. And then on the next lap, they'll have a double red card up to indicate that that's their last turn. Also, the starter in this event, when there's 50 yards plus 5 meters, they'll ring a bell or blow a whistle or toot a horn. They'll do something to indicate that they're at the end of the race. You can see the splits up there. Ian split a 36.16 on that 50. He probably needs to split, let's see. He needs to split 33 threes throughout the race to make his qualifying time. That's what it takes in that race. And that's what they have to do. They have to set a goal, and that's what they need to do. I want to do 33 seconds per 50 throughout the race. Naturally, your first 50, maybe your first 100 will be a little bit faster, and then your last 50 or last 100 might be a little bit faster. And that's how you make a 500 free state qualifying time. When they get to the state level, believe it or not, some of the swimmers will swim in the 4-minute 20-second range for this 500 free. probably a little bit faster than that. I don't know what the state record is in the 500 anymore. This was always one of the most fun events to coach. Try to get the other swimmers to fire them up a little bit and get them to swim a little faster. He's at 3:33 at the 300. He's on lap number 13. Oh, he's on lap number 50. I think he's on lap number 13. He must have already switched that. So that's the 350 right there. You can see what his split time is, 37.4. He needs to try to hold a little bit faster per 50. I was very blessed when I was coaching the swim team here at Tennessee High with swimmers who loved to swim the 500, and every year we would have 3 or 4 boys and 3 or 4 girls that would qualify for state in the 500, and they worked together as a group, the distance freestyle group, to help each other get better and make the qualifying times. It was always a fun group to coach. Their workout was a little bit different than everybody else's workout because that's what they were concentrating on. This should be the bell lap, I believe. Maybe. There it goes. You could see Ian pick up that last lap, and now you see the double red or the double orange placards on the counter. It's just something that Ian's going to have to work on in practice to hold those split times down so that they're in the 33-second range. You can see his last 50 was a 33-second. I believe he went about 5:59, 5:57.34. It's off his best time, but I would probably think that that best time was swim maybe last year at the regional meet or something. It's a little different because the swimmers taper for that competition. When I say taper, they cut back on their yardage, they try to get more sleep, they focus on different things in practice, all to try to swim their best in that one meet. It looks like Alyssa Harris is on her final lap over in lane 4. Again, lane 1 is the lane closest to the windows in the pool. This is a tough event to swim a personal best in when you're swimming by yourself. It's just you against the clock, and that's difficult. It's a whole lot more fun if you have somebody that's pushing you the whole time in that 500. So it looks like for the girls, Tennessee High is going to get first and fourth. Maybe not. Maybe first and third. and that's what they get. They get first and third. Sullivan Central get second and fourth, and Tennessee High wins the event 9-6. Good swim by all the swimmers in the 500. And our next event is event number 17, the girls 200-yard freestyle relay. Each swimmer will do a 50, 2 lengths of the pool. In lane number 2, you have Tennessee High B team, and in lane number 4 is the Tennessee High A team. Swimmers on the B team, swimming first will be Alyssa Harris, second Danica Mai, third Kaylee Dutton, and fourth Grace Mickelson. And for the A team, leading off will be Sophie Arnold, and swimming second is Emma Davis, third is Molly Johnson, and fourth is Grace Johnson. The leadoff swimmer in this event can actually achieve a state qualifying time as long as they make the time and the relay doesn't get disqualified. So Sophie with a 29.7 first 50. Emma Davis has a pretty freestyle. Her stroke is very nice. She does a good job of breathing on both sides, which I think is extremely important in swimming freestyle. 32.2 for Emma. In the water now is Molly Johnson. You can see Molly's breathing on both sides. They call that bilateral breathing. The final swimmer into the water is Grace Johnson. Into the water now for the B relay is Grace Mickelson. So you have Grace versus Grace. Again, this is one of those events, you know, Tennessee High was going to get first and second no matter how hard they swim. And some of these swimmers still have other events to do that they may have not swim their fastest time or put in as much effort as they could put in. But that's okay. That's okay. Swim by the girls. Our next event's event number 18, the boys 200-yard freestyle relay. Again, this is a head-to-head. In lane 3, you have Sullivan Central. Lane 4, Tennessee High. Your swimmers. Leading off for Sullivan Central is Joel Miller. Swimming second, Gunnar Moore. Third, Luke Johnson. Fourth, Colton Wood. For Tennessee High, it's Benji Fernandez leading off. Ian Webb, who just got out of the 500, swimming second. Paul Letson swimming third. And Evan Jones, one of the fastest swimmers in Northeast Tennessee, swimming fourth. Benji giving them a good lead. a good start. And if you think that Ian was moving before Benji touched the wall, that's the idea. That's what you want to do. But the swimmer on the block has to remain in contact with the block until the swimmer in the water touches the wall. They can be fully stretched out and with their toes just touching the wall, and it's a legal start. It's a good swim by Ian, a 28. Paul Letson in the water for Tennessee High. Luke Johnson for Sullivan Central. Evan only has this event and probably the 400 free relay left in tonight's swim card. 23.6. It's good swims by the Vikings in that event. 147.03. That's good. That's good. Finishing up is Colton Moore for Sullivan Central. Central ended up with a time of 2:19.69. So the Vikings outscore Central in that event by a score of 8-4. Our next event is event number 19, the girls 100-yard backstroke. Swimmers for this event, lane assignments. In lane 2, you have Grace Mickelson from Tennessee High. Lane 3, Brooklyn Daniel, Sullivan Central. Lane 4, Sophie Arnold, Tennessee High. Lane 5, Naomi Miller from Sullivan Central. Lane 6, Danica Mai from Tennessee High. State qualifying time in this event is 107.89. The time that Sophie Arnold has, her seed time is 107.06, but that's what she swam at last year's state meet, and she has to make the state qualifying time again this year in order to go to state. If you'll notice how the swimmers coming into the wall, they'll take one stroke, rotate over onto their stomach, and do a flip turn. That's a legal backstroke turn. Sophie's going to be off by about a couple of seconds in this one. She'll probably go about a 109. She's close, but just not quite there. That was a good second 50. She's just got to get out a little faster. Her splits were 34.48, 35.50. If she can get out in a 32 or 31, then that 35.50 will make state qualifying time. So the girls in that event are going to go 1, 2, 3 for Tennessee High, and Central's going to get 4th and 5th. The Lady Vikings outscore Central in that event 13-3. When the time doesn't show up on the board like that, a lot of times the swimmer did not hit the pad, or there was a discrepancy between the touch of the pad and the push of the button. They have a backup time in each lane where they push a button and it stops the clock as well. So event number 20, the boys 100-yard backstroke. Your lane assignments in lane 2 is Bryson Phillips from Tennessee High. Lane 3, Braden Templeton from Sullivan Central. Lane 4, Paul Letson, Tennessee High. Lane 5, Gunnar Moore from Sullivan Central. When they do the flip turn, they can turn over and they get one arm stroke, that crossover stroke, and that's all they get. They can't take another arm stroke when they're on their stomach or they're swimming freestyle and they're disqualified. In high school swimming, once they turn over, as long as they don't take more than one stroke, they can kick into the wall. And it's not a disqualification, even though they could swim quite a distance on their stomach kicking. In USS swimming and in Olympic swimming, it has to be one continuous turn. That was a good swim by Braden Templeton. Braden dropped about 2.25 seconds. Paul Letson for Tennessee High in lane 4, his 1:16.43 is about a 1.5 second drop. And Bryson Phillips for Tennessee High up in lane 2 also had a drop in his time. His time's 1:33.93. His seed time was 1:38.7, so he almost dropped 5 seconds. So Central gets first and fourth in this event. Tennessee High gets second and third, and Central wins the event by the score of 8-7. Our next event's event number 21, the girls 100-yard breaststroke. In lane 2, you have Alyssa Harris from Tennessee High. Lane 4, Emma Davis, Tennessee High. And in lane 6, Gabby Francis, Tennessee High. State qualifying time in this event is 1:17.69. Last year, Emma, I believe it was at the last chance meet, swam a 1:20.6 and really came fairly close to making her state time. If she could get up a little bit higher in the water, I feel like she could dive over and swim a little faster. All of their strokes a little bit up and down and not pull up and then dive over an imaginary pool noodle or something. If you notice the turns, once they turn and push off the wall, they get to do a pull down. And a pull down consists of one dolphin kick, one arm pull all the way down to your thighs, and then a kick out. And a lot of the swimmers at the highest level push off and do their pull down in that order. They do a dolphin kick first, then they do a pull down, then they do the kick out to break the surface. It's a good swim, 1:21. A lot of the other swimmers, I was watching Emma do her turn, and she was doing the pull down, the pull and the kick at the same time, the dolphin kick, and that's okay too. You have to have a strong dolphin kick to do it the other way. That's not bad. It's only 8/10 off of her best time, and she still has over a month before the regional swim meet. Good job by the 3 Tennessee High swimmers. Emma Davis coming in first, Alyssa Harris second, and Gabby Francis third. And the Lady Vikings win that event 13-0. And now we're at event number 22, the boys 100-yard breaststroke. In lane number 3, you have Luke Johnson from Sullivan Central. And in lane number 5, Joel Miller from Sullivan Central. The best swimmers in the conference will do their pull down off the dive, and they probably won't come up until they're close to the 15-meter mark on that first lap. Breaststroke's the only stroke that you can surface after the 15-meter mark. In freestyle, butterfly, and backstroke, you have to come up before you get to the 15-meter mark. Luke Johnson with the big lead here in this race. You can tell by the times, the breaststroke is the slowest of all the races, and therefore you use quite a bit of energy, and you can see them swimming. Their stroke and their recovery, their kick, everything is underwater, and so they're having to fight that water resistance the whole time. If you watched his turn, that was technically an illegal turn. He did 2 dolphin kicks coming off the wall, 2 butterfly kicks. And that was all he did, and you can't do that. I doubt that anybody caught that and is going to call it. That's the end of the 100 breaststroke. And our last 2 events of the evening are going to be combined, events 23 and 24. The women's 400-yard freestyle relay and the boys' 400-yard freestyle relay. I think it's interesting. This is the only event for the girls that they call it the women. The lane assignments in lane 1 will be the girls team, Bristol Tennessee High School B. Lane 2, Sullivan Central High School A. Lane 3, Tennessee High School A. Lane 4, Sullivan Central Boys A. And lane 5, Tennessee High Boys A. This was a pretty good idea by Coach Johnson. Again, a swimmer leading off in this relay can qualify for state if they make the qualifying time, because it's just like swimming a race. The only caveat to that is the relay cannot be disqualified. They could break the world record, and if the relay's disqualified, it doesn't count. In the water for the Tennessee High boys is Ian Webb. For Sullivan Central is Abram Whitfield. And for the Tennessee High girls, that's Sophie Arnold over in lane 3. In lane 2, you have Suzanne Amos for Sullivan Central. And in lane 1, that's Phoebe Swavely from Tennessee High. Now in the water for Sullivan Central is Connor Manning with a slight lead, but coming on strong is for Tennessee High is Brady Knabb. Over in lane 3, that's Molly Johnson for the girls. It's a good turn that time by Brady, and he's caught up and taken over the lead. Over in lane 1, that's Gabby Francis, and in lane 2, Naomi Miller. And Gabby's making up a great deal of pool space. Here they come into the wall. This is a close relay, very close relay. Good start by the Vikings. That's Benji Fernandez into the water for Tennessee High, and in lane 4, that's Braden Templeton for Sullivan Central. Emma Davis will be the next swimmer for the girls, and she's into the water over in lane 3. Gabby Francis has done an outstanding job overtaking the Sullivan Central swimmer. Into the water now for the Tennessee High B team on the girls is Grace Mickelson. And getting ready to go off the block for Sullivan Central is Kate Gross. Your anchor leg for the Tennessee High A boys team is Evan Jones. And unless something miraculous happens, they're not going to catch Evan. I'm not exactly sure where Evan stands in the Tennessee High top 10 of all-time swims, but he's got to be close in the 100 free, and I know he's in the top 10 in the boys 50 free. And if he has an outstanding swim at state meet or at the regional meet, he has the potential to set school record in the 50 free this year. The only thing that I would say to Evan is to stay in the middle of the pool and not try to swim back and forth in the pool like he did. It's amazing how much yardage you can add to a swim by circle swimming or not staying in the middle of the pool, up and down the pool. In a 500-yard free, it's about 5 yards. And so, do you want to swim 500 yards or 505 yards? Good swim. That was Grace Johnson in the pool for Tennessee High there. Grace made her state qualifying time in the 100 free earlier tonight. The time that she had was swam last year at the state meet. And she's got that qualifying time now, so she doesn't have to worry about it. In the water over in lane number 1 is Mary Hufford for Tennessee High B team. And in the water for the Sullivan Central team is Brooklyn Daniel. Mary's on her final length of the pool. I believe that there's one more home swim meet for the Aquavikes this year. Colin, do you know what the date is? I'm not exactly sure what date it is, but we'll do this one more time. It's been a lot of fun to get out and watch these athletes give it all in the pool. Well, I made it back from the scores table to get the final results of tonight's meet. On the girls' side, it's very much a one-sided event with the final score: Tennessee High 131, Sullivan Central 24. So they outscored them by 107 points. And on the boys' score, it was a very close meet most of the meet, but Tennessee High came out on top and won by the score of 75-64. And that makes the combined total Tennessee High 206, Sullivan Central 88. It was a good night. A few new state qualifying times. Congratulations to Evan Jones for his 200 IM swim, and to Grace Johnson for her 100-yard free swim. That was two special swims on their part. Just want to thank everyone for tuning in, and thanks again to our technician Colin Moore for all his hard work to set this up and to go through getting everything set up the way that so that you can watch this meet. He just does an outstanding job. And we'll sign off for tonight, and hopefully we'll see you at our the final swim meet. That'll be senior night for the Tennessee High Aquavikes. Thanks everyone again for logging in. God bless and have a good night.